Hi readers, welcome back to my channel, Lila Wanders and Reads. Leigh here, and welcome to a book haul. Now, this week, usually I film my weekend books and then two other videos. This is one of the two others, but this week I'm filming this first, although it will air last, because I wanted to use this video to figure out what to read next. And in true Leigh fashion, while I was preparing for this, I actually figured out what I want to read next. So, we'll get there. Anywho, so, last week, I went to Boone, North Carolina for a short vacation, 3-4 nights, with my sister and my nephew. There are no independent bookstores or conventional bookstores in Boone. There's a Christian bookstore, there's a New Age bookstore, there's the App State bookstore, but not like an indie bookstore that sells normal books. So I was really disappointed. We did find one antique store that had a bookshop in it, but it was all used books and not good used books, if you know what I mean. A lot of them were moldy and not in good condition, and the prices just weren't as cheap as I would expect. I mean, I might as well go to bookshop.org. Anywho, so let's start. So anyway, I did not buy any books on vacation. Okay, I bought one. It's a history book about North Carolina. So, but aside from that, I did not buy any books in Boone, but I did order some on the internet to be waiting for me when I got home. So let's start with that. The first one is a Read with Jenna book choice for this month, and it was actually Jenna's Instagram post that made me intrigued by the names, and I don't have my glasses with me. Oh well, we'll have to roll with it. By Florence Knapp. And Jenna did a really great job of describing this book. It gives me something that I'm not sure is in this blurb. In the wake of a catastrophic storm, Cora sets off with her 9-year-old daughter, Maya, to register the birth of her son. Her husband, Gordon, respected in the community but a controlling presence at home, intends for her to follow a long-standing family tradition and name the baby after him. But when faced with the decision, Cora hesitates. Spanning 35 years, what follows, okay, this is it, are 3 alternate and alternating versions of their lives, shaped by Cora's last-minute choice of name. So, this is not the one I'm going to read next. However, I really want to read this soon, just like every other book I have in a book haul. But I really want to get to that one. Anyway, next up is another new release from last week, and that is The Butcher's Daughter by David Demchuk and Corinne Lee Clark. I don't think the hitherto untold story of Mrs. Lovett. I don't think when I bought this I realized it was written by 2 authors, so that should be intriguing. This has got a little bit of heft to it, but the font is pretty large, and again, eager to get to this one. It's going to be much more difficult for me to read this without my glasses because it's white font on black background, and then there's some red. London, 1887, I think. At the abandoned apartment of a missing young woman, a dossier of evidence is collected, ordered chronologically, and sent to the chief inspector of the London Metropolitan Police. It contains a frightening correspondence between an inquisitive journalist, Miss Emily Gibson, and the woman Gibson thinks may be the infamous Mrs. Lovett, Sweeney Todd's accomplice, a wicked woman who baked men into pies and sold them in her pie shop on Fleet Street, the talk of London town, even decades after her horrendous misdeeds. Anyway, I've got to stop reading that because it's really hard on my eyes. But there's a correspondence. This book contains correspondence, so I'm really excited about this. Anywho, next up, A Spell for Change. Again, black on white font by Nicole Jarvis, and very small. Kate Meyer has always been troubled by visions of the future. God dang, I can't see. Oh, found some glasses. Thank goodness. Phew. Okay. Kate Meyer has always been troubled by visions of the future. No matter what she does, her disturbing premonitions come to pass, often with terrible consequences. But Kate has a secret, swirling romantic dreams of a strange boy and a chance meeting in the woods. Oliver Chadwick Jr. returned from the Great War. I love a story about the Great War. Disabled, disillusioned, and able to see the dead. Haunted by the loss of his best friend, Oliver realizes that his ability to communicate with spirits may offer the chance of closure he desperately seeks. Nora Jo Barker's mother and grandmother were witches. Oh, this is a third person. But she has never nurtured her own power. Always an outsider, she has made a place for herself as the town school teacher, clinging to independence the job affords her. When her unorthodox ideas lead to her dismissal, good God! Salvation comes in the form of a witch from the mountains, who offers her a magical apprenticeship. Yet, as she begins to fall for another woman in town, her loyalties pull her in disparate directions. Rumors of a dark force stalking the town only push Kate, Oliver, and Nora Jo onwards in their quest to determine their own destinies. But there are powers in the world stronger and stranger than their own, and not all magic is used for good. Okay. What has happened here? My note cards are all awry. So let's go back a bit and read the last little bit about the butcher's daughter, because I did not have glasses on. Oh, much, much better. Okay, so the talk of London town, even decades after her horrendous misdeeds. As the woman relays the harrowing account of her life in the unruly and perilous streets of Victorian London, her missives unlock an intricate mystery that brings Miss Emily Gibson, the journalist, closer to the truth, even as that truth may cost her everything. We'll see. I do like that this has got, like, journal, London Evening Post entries and letters, so very excited to read all three of those. Anywho, let's get to the rest of it. So, those are the ones I ordered while I was away. Then yesterday I got home, and sometimes my Barnes & Noble will have books a week early, or like the weekend before the pub date. But recently, the local Barnes & Noble has rearranged their books, and they've put face out, I guess, books they want you to buy, and everything else is in, allegedly, alphabetical order. But ever since they've done this, I've not been able to find a fucking thing in that place. And they're alphabetized. It's just aesthetically, maybe I was used to the way it was set up before, and I was able to find things easier. I'm not able to find a goddamn thing anymore. Like, so now I order online and pick up in store. And in fact, I went to Barnes & Noble yesterday looking for a book that they didn't necessarily have to have it early. That's fine. I ended up ordering it online to be delivered next week. But again, I just couldn't find anything in there. I know there were new releases from last week. I don't remember what they are, and they weren't easy to find, so I just left with 2 books that were not new. One of these is going to be my next read. It's the last one. So we'll start with The Night in Question by Susan Fletcher. I just stumbled across this. I went in looking for a specific book, and I couldn't find it, and I almost walked out of the store without anything, and I probably should have, but whatever. You know I can't do that. So, The Night in Question, Susan Fletcher. When an accident takes place at 87-year-old Florrie Butterfield's adult residence, it is so shocking that she grows suspicious. In her efforts to learn the truth, Florrie is forced to look back on her own life and confront her own bloody secret. Above all, Florrie learns, through the help of her new friend Stanhope, that you're never too old to have the life you've always dreamed of. I don't think I've read any Susan Fletcher. That's what I paused for. But I do look forward to this one. This text copyright was 2024, so paperback now. That makes sense. But I don't remember even hearing about this. Anywho. Okay, so now we are at what I think I'm going to read next. And that is What Wild Women Do by Karma Brown. I'm a little put off by the name Karma. I mean, if she had hippie parents, that's fine. If she chose the name, I'm like, okay. But anyway, that's not the point. I chose this one because it is very similar to my theme. The theme for Tuesday, which was posted yesterday, was Lost in the Woods. And that has been a theme for a lot of my reading this past month and some change. So, what wild women do? Let's find out. The fates of two women, an abandoned camp, secrets of the past that can no longer stay hidden. To get a break from a stalled career as a Hollywood screenwriter, Rowan retreats to an isolated cabin in the Adirondacks with her fiancé, Seth. There in the wilderness, Rowan finds herself drawn to a local mystery, that of the infamous socialite turned feminist crusader, Eddie Calloway, who vanished in the same woods 40 years earlier and was never heard from again. A handbook found in the abandoned ruins of Camp Calloway gives Rowan a glimpse into who Eddie was, until a fateful discovery begins to unravel what might have happened to her. As Rowan draws closer to the truth, she realizes that the past and the Adirondacks woods may hold two keys. One that reveals what really happened to Eddie Calloway, and another that unlocks a future beyond her wildest imagination. So this is what I'm going to read next. It gives me that Lost in the Woods vibe. I'm just coming back from the mountains. I still feel nature inside me. And sorry guys, I gotta show you this. The mountains are calling. I love the shirt. I bought it in Boone. Oh, actually, specifically, I bought it at Blowing Rock, the Blowing Rock Museum. Anywho, I will have talked more about my trip in my weekend books because you'll see, and or you might have already seen, and in yesterday's theme because it's still really near and dear to my heart. Anywho, that is it for me. I'm going to try to read this next, and hopefully it will be successful. I've had some mixed results, but I actually have a little hope, which hopefully I will have talked about in my weekend books. Anyway, I'm rambling. As always, if you've made it with me this far, thank you so much for sticking with me on my journey, and happy reading.